What's causing that to be all over the place then, you think?
Wrong jet.
Oh, okay, good. Oddbod is back on the operating table, and today we're going to try and make the scooter much more usable. It's not running correctly at the moment. The carburettor desperately needs setting up, but in everyday use, when you switch the choke on, it's obviously a manual choke on these old scooters. At the moment you have to lift this big heavy loop up to switch it on because it's a lever on the carburettor itself. Switch the choke off, lift the loop up again. The same thing with a petrol tap. Every time I want to start the scooter, I have to lift the loop up, switch the petrol tap on, get to where I'm going, lift the loop up, switch the petrol tap off. It's a right pain. So my idea is to put the choke back to a cable choke and also the tap onto a lever, so I can just switch those on and off without having to lift the loop every time. That's the plan. First of all, let's lift this loop up. Now, if we can see in there, the carburetor is tucked in there. The lever is right around there. That is choke on. That's choke off. It's this lever here. I need to remove this first. So what I've got is a kit to put this back to a cable choke. I don't think the standard cable for a Lambretta will work very well because I can't fit it back to the loop. I need to find a different position. So I've got a couple of options. I bought these just off of Amazon. This one's pretty good. A lever type thing, but it's got a huge body there, so I'm not quite sure where I'm going to fit that. And I bought this other one, which is just like a classic. Maybe you're going to find this in an old car or something, which you just pull it on. And this one's got a much smaller body, so I think this is one I'm going to go for. The end obviously is not correct, but I've got the kit so I can just swap over the ends and this bit, and hopefully it's all going to go together. First of all, I'm just going to pull out this flip choke and just see what we're looking at. I think from memory just this one screw holds the thing in. Oh, there we go. That's how it works. With this new choke cable, I've pulled off the 90-degree bend it had on it because I need to take off this big nut and eventually I'll push the thing through. I think I'm going to fit a new outer cable to this and I can cut it exactly the right length I need it. Firstly, I'm going to have to cut this old one off. So when I put the new bits all together, I need to get so it has the same distance to pull up, if that makes sense, because I've obviously got to make sure the choke has the same action. Messed up a little bit, but in the end I had to cut the nipple off to get the outer cable off. Anyway, I've cut a new piece of outer cable and I basically just trimmed it until I got the desired length, hopefully. So now, if you can see with these pieces lined up, the bottom of that barrel bit, I've no idea what that's called, also lines up. What I'm hoping is when I pull the choke this end, it will lift it up far enough as much as the original one. Anyway, for now, what I need to do is put some kind of nipple on the end there. I might actually try putting a blob of weld on. So I need to find somewhere to mount this choke button, and I'm thinking in there, that's the actual bracket which like holds the hinge for the loop. So I think that'll be out of the way there, with the loop moving up and down. It clears it quite well. And I can still get to it just about with my fingers to pull it in and out. So yeah, I think that is where I am gonna drill it. Got this hole drilled in there. Now I'm gonna thread the cable through. That's a 10mm hole I drilled in there. Well, it went in alright. just sticks out a little bit further than I thought. I just want to check the clearance. I'm just going to whack a nut on the other side, just to hold it in place. Just got that finger tight now. I'm just going to check this choke. Oh yeah, there's loads of clearance there. With it pulled out, it just about clears as well. And also, the choke doesn't hit the frame. So yeah, pretty good job. And now I just need to connect this end on, so I'm thinking it can go about there. Nice gentle-ish loop anyway. So we'll try and connect this end up now and see if it'll go in. I wish I'd shown this on camera now, but I had no idea whether it was going to work or not. I don't have a nipple or anything that small, so I just got my welder and just welded a blob of weld on the end of the cable, and it seems to have worked all right. That holds on there quite well. So yeah, pleased about that. I just need to put this spring on. I've got a little bit of play with this adjuster here as well, so either way. Well, that was the right pain to try and get that on. That spring is so tight. Anyway, I've got it on there, so let's just see if it's going to go in all right. And just basically pushes down there. I've got my screw. So it's gone in now, all right? Just want to give it a quick test. Yeah. See that? And then, so that's working, but the proof actually, if I pull this off, you can actually see inside. There's a little cut out bit there we can see, so let me see if I can get you in there. So we're looking at this little hole in there, choke out, you can see the hole. Put a choke in, so it's working fine with the loop up. That is a choke out. We just pop it back in. Now we'll move around to the other side because I want to tackle this fuel on off tap. I just literally have to lift the loop to switch this on off. I put this little piece of metal in here, right pain. So I bought an actual original petrol tap here. I quite like the levers on these. They look old school, they match the levers on the panels, so I quite like that. I think I'm just basically going to do kind of what I did with the choke on the other side. Obviously the spark plug's there, but there's not so much room. But I think I'm just going to drill another hole through the same place where I drilled for the choke, and then put the bar in. And then, as it stands, that loop would hit, you know, this handle. So I think I'm going to maybe cut the bar off there, and then maybe have some kind of key or something like that. Security wise would be good, make my life a lot easier. All I've got to do is drill one hole through there. I've got a rubber grommet, so basically the bar's 6mm diameter, 6mm grommet there. I just need to drill a 10mm hole. Welded a little socket on the end of the bar, just a standard Allen key. So I can just use that for the key for now. I might eventually weld a nice sort of tap or something on the end of there, but I'm hoping that will go in there okay. Yep, seems to work fine. Yeah, I might just need to grind a little bit more off. So I think it's just going to rub on the frame when I put the grommet in. So yeah, I'm going to go back to the wheel, grind a bit more off. Really pleased how that came out. I just ground it down to sort of, oh, looks like one piece. You never know how well did that on there. So next job is just going to try and get a grommet in the hole. The trouble is this metal I've used quite thick, and this grommet doesn't look like it's for quite this thick a material, but let's see if I can get it in there. Okay, so just going to chuck this little cotter pin back in here, stop that going anywhere. And there we are, the finished thing. Little secret petrol tap on and off. Like I say, I'll put some fancy end on this. But there's my key, that's off. And that's on, and if you watch here, yeah, it works really well. Happy about that. So I've got the panels back on. There's the little petrol tap on and off. That's going to work out just great. There's the choke, dead easy. Pull it out, push it in. Looks really good, I reckon. Well, that was good to get those couple of jobs done. Nice and stealth. So much easier now. Get to the choke and the petrol tap. Yeah, it's going to work out pretty good, I think. Here we are, SRP Racetech. Today is dyno day. So we've got two scoots here. Oddbod, of course, and my friend Gus has brought his scooter along. Right, let's get him out of the van. Chap, it's going to be dynoing.
To be fair, this engine does exactly what I wanted it to do.
Yeah, that's helpful.
But I just want to see what it's making and what the jetting's like. I reckon this is 16 horsepower to rear wheel.
All right, then. We're going to check this out in a second.
28, 30mm carb.
30mm.
Yeah, and obviously a fairly basic exhaust, so probably right.
Tell us about the engine a bit.
I had it built by AF Race Speed, Rapido 225 with a 62 straight crank, bored out 71mm, giving 245cc. 5-plate clutch, running 2146 primaries on a GP 200 box. She does pull like a train.
What would that engine have had brake horsepower wise coming out of the factory?
Apparently 12.
Really? Okay.
But I don't know whether that's measured at the crank or the rear wheel from the factory.
Okay.
That's the crank.
Yeah, so it's probably about 9.5 at the back.
The figures we're going to get now are obviously at the back wheel, aren't they?
Yeah.
What is that going to tell us in the exhaust?
That's telling us our emissions from the exhaust.
Okay. So air and fuel mixture, will it tell us that? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, CO readings.
Nice.
That's the main reason for my visit, is to see what the air fuel ratio is. Smell that, Scott.
It smells beautiful, mate.
Do we know what figure she was putting out then?
Not yet, no. It's a separate system, that.
So we're swapping the main jet, are we, in the needle position?
That's it.
I think she's running a 125.
So we're going to go from 125 to a 130 main jet. If you were talking about a 50 or 60% brake horsepower rise like in a car, you started with something that was, 200 brake horsepower car, and then you suddenly went up to 300.
you'd be spending a lot of money.
And but you know, it'd be a huge thing, wouldn't it? But because we were talking about low numbers to start with, it doesn't sound as impressive, but it's, you know,
It still is.
Still is.
It's still a lot of money.
yeah. Oh,
23 at the back wheel.
23 at the back wheel.
Yeah, we like 23, Scott. We're happy with that.
So we got basically over twice what we would have come out of the factory with, is what we're saying.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Basically,
more
Scott, more than double. More than double. Excellent. The Oddbod.
Definitely different.
Not sure why I'm nervous. This is my first time at a dyno, so it could be why. The engine I haven't really I had to pull off the, it was blown out past the head.
Yeah, lovely.
But other than that, I haven't really touched it. I did put a sort of second-hand clutch in it. But basically, just a standard GP200, just with the exhaust and the carb. So I'm not expecting anything too much. Is it Indian GP would be 12 brake horsepower as well, would it? Maybe.
Get lucky if it's a good one.
So if we get, you know,
I think if you had 12 at the back wheel, that would be nice.
12 at the back wheel would be good, yeah. What's causing that to be all over the place then, you think?
Wrong jets.
Oh, okay, good. So the carb's coming off. Do you know what you're going to be doing in there then, or just going to see what's in there first? Or?
Yeah, first. It feels like the main jet definitely wants to be smaller.
Yeah, cool.
So, horrible there.
And that being a standard, I would imagine too much jetting in there.
It's, whereas it's weak down the bottom.
Oh, okay. The latest is the jets are all over the place. Too much fuel top end, maybe not enough at the bottom end. So the first process is to get that about right before the dyno happens. So Paul is just sourcing some jets, I think, for the carburettor. So, yeah, it's quite smoky. You probably pick that up on the camera. Hopefully,
Just a bit.
hopefully we'll get on top of that a little bit, but quite exciting for me. First dyno test. It had around 128 in it. What's in there now?
118 now.
118.
Yeah.
Right. This is test 2. 118. Is that, yeah?
Yes.
Bit more sense. What are you thinking?
It's still a touch weak at quarter throttle.
Okay.
Rich at half and still rich at full throttle.
Take 3. What are we thinking?
Different needle, I think.
Okay.
And yet another smaller main jet.
So what are we going to go down to this time?
If I've got one, it's probably going to be something like 108 or even 105.
Fuel economy we're going for.
Yeah.
Even smaller main jet, we're going to go again. Right, so we got the emissions side of it done, and it's now to dyno time. Panel on. The sun has come out.
Yeah, nice bit of sunshine.
That's pretty good, look at that.
Lovely.
Feel some warmth on our backs. Nice day. Where is it? Somerset, are we in?
Certainly are. And who needs expensive kits?
15. Ah. I really enjoyed my morning at the dyno. A massive thanks to Paul at SRP Racetech for allowing us to come over. If you couldn't see the figures clearly from the footage, Gus's scoot actually showed 23 brake horsepower and Oddbod achieved 15 brake horsepower and 70 miles per hour on the dyno. Obviously, in the real world, a big burly person on the scoot into a headwind, you're not going to get those kind of miles per hour, but it's interesting to see that on the dyno. From the factory, a standard 200 Lambretta engine apparently achieves about 12 brake horsepower at the crank, so that's going to be 9 or 10 at the rear wheel. So as you can see, Gus is more than doubled his brake horsepower. It might seem like small numbers to you, but if you put that into context, if it was a car, for instance, and the car was 120 brake horsepower at the crank from the factory, and then you were getting 230 brake horsepower at the rear wheels, you know, that's a massive increase. Power to weight ratio is good. Makes it much more usable as well, fuel efficient, carburetor set up properly now. And now I've done this choke and fuel on and off, the scoot is just much more user friendly. So hoping to put some miles on the scoot as soon as the weather's a bit better. I just want to thank everyone very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this dyno special. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Give us a follow and a like there, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you very much.